once in a blue moon, you may get a movie that really makes some waves, that's so incredibly creative that people become so incredibly uncreative that they keep making the same movie over and over and over because that first one ended up being so interesting. We have here D.O.A, which means Dead on Arrival. A two-film pack, the original and the remake. This one came out in the 40s, and this one came out in the 80s. This one stars Dennis Quaid. Well, we were going to get to that one after we talk about this one. This one stars a man named Mr. Bigelow. He is a sort of bill of sales middleman, and his assistant has been receiving a lot of calls from a man who needs information about a bill of sale. Now, Mr. Bigelow has been out and hasn't really taken this call, and he decided not to take the call, period, as he goes to, I believe it's San Francisco or Los Angeles, somewhere in California, for a sort of vacation, for a little R&R. So he goes there and he checks into a hotel. And then he gets a call from his assistant, who tells him that the man who called and asking about the bill of sale has died, so he doesn't really have to worry about that anymore. So he pays that no mind. He goes out and has a lot of drinks. Then he wakes up feeling really sick. He goes to the doctor, and they say that he's been poisoned by some luminous toxin, and there's nothing they can do. He's going to die probably within a day or two. So that's all he's got. And he's got to get his affairs in order in 1 to 2 days. And so he decides to find his killer before he dies and get revenge on being murdered, basically, which is a fantastic little idea. It's a fantastic little concept. In fact, it's a concept I've watched many, many, many times in a film that I absolutely love to pieces. And that is, of course, Crank! Crank! Starring Jason Statham and Amy Smart in adrenaline-filled fueled thrill ride. This film is about a man who wakes up. He's been poisoned by some Chinese synthetic stuff, and he goes off on a rampage to find the people who have killed him, essentially, and get revenge before he runs out of time. It's the same premise, but damn if the creators of this film didn't take liberties where needed to make an incredibly interesting and fun film. I loved D.O.A, but I also love Crank. Crank is so original, even though it's basically using the same premise as D.O.A. They decided to go full balls to the wall action and over-the-top stunts and crazy shootouts and dialogue and over-the-top skin-to-skin contact action. It's just one of the best movies you will ever see. And of course, they had to make a sequel called Crank 2 High Voltage. Again, another of the best films. Not as good as the first, but still a very, very fun time. And I am angry that they never made a Crank 3. They set it up at the end of the movie for a Crank 3 to happen, but it never did. It never happened. It's just sad. Though they can still make a Crank 3. Jason Statham says he's still up for making a Crank 3. They just need to give him a script that's good, and they need to get a director. They need to get the movie started, and he'll be there. And there are ways that you can explain this and say that Crank guy, Chef Chelios, has been in a coma for the past 20 or so years, and he wakes up, and now he finds that his city has been completely different. His wife has a son. His girlfriend has a son, and it turns out it's his kid, and he's also in the same assassin's business, and he's got to go do some stuff there, and it could be a fun little ride, you know? Crank 3 could be a good idea, you know? There's tons of ideas you could do with Crank 3. I'd probably go more over the top, but the family dynamic would be pretty fun too, but it's a little cliched. But hey, everything's cliche these days. Absolutely. I mean, I've been spending the past 4 minutes talking about how something's cliched and done already. Crank is D.O.A. done better, more actiony, not better, but, because, D.O.A. is obviously a better noir. The film's in black and white, after all. It is a far better noir story. It's a good mystery. You know who killed Crank at the beginning, killed Chef Chelios at the very start of the film. We know, because he puts a tape to his VCR, and we see the guy who killed him bragging about killing him. We get to see them actually inject him with the poison while he's knocked out, and then they leave when he wakes up. It's very good and very different from D.O.A., but it's still pulling from D.O.A. to make this movie. So even though it's cliched, you could still make a good movie out of being cliche. You just need to do it the right way. Which brings us into the D.O.A. Remake, starring Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. This is a film that I did a little bit of film trivia history learning about as I watched it. I had no idea that Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan hooked up after this movie. Yes, after this one, not their previous film they filmed together. It was this movie that they filmed together that had them fall in love. And that's when they got together. So if it weren't for the D.O.A. remake, we may not have gotten Jack Quaid. We owe D.O.A. We owe D.O.A. to Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid's a fantastic actor. He's been recently in a movie where he can't feel pain, action movie, and now people want to play Max Payne. honestly, in D.O.A. the remake, it's bookended with some black and white scenes at the beginning and at the end of the movie. And Dennis Quaid in black and white. He looks just like his son. I mean, that's obvious. They're the son, father, son. Obviously they're meant to look alike. But this is Dennis Quaid when he was young. He's about Jack's age in this movie, and he is very good. It's a very fun time. I honestly wish the film stayed in black and white the entire time, though I can understand why they didn't do that. The film opens in black and white with some good noir music playing. But then, after Dennis Quaid starts to explain to them what's been going on these past 36 hours, then the film flashes back, and the rest of the flashback is in color, until we get back to the present day, which is back in black and white. Unlike the first D.O.A., the original D.O.A., which ends in Mr. Bigelow dying after telling the police what has happened the past 24 hours, Dennis Quaid does not die at the end of the film. He just walks out of the precinct, and we fade to black to credits. And we have no idea what happens to him after that. The doctors technically said he has 48 hours, technically, not 24 hours. It's only been 36 hours, so he's still got 12 hours to do something with his life. So who knows what he's going to do there? I have no idea. He's found some sort of reappreciation for his life, even though it's over now. It's still fantastic fun. It's still a fantastic time. The film didn't make a lot of money. It made its money back, obviously, but it didn't make too much money, so it wasn't super successful. But I'd say making Jack Quaid out of this movie is a very successful time. It's a very successful movie just for that, because I like that Jack Quaid exists. I do like that Jack Quaid exists, and I do like that D.O.A. happened to have the dominoes fall into place to have Jack Quaid exist afterwards, because this was the movie where they hooked up. After the movie they hooked up. Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, they hooked up. It was a very fun time. The movie is very serviceable. It's not as good as D.O.A. 1, but I would argue that the first act of the remake of D.O.A. is still better than the first act of D.O.A. 1, but that's mainly because this one's more recent. It has more typical what you'd expect of 80s and 90s movies to have as an opening act. So it's more modern, if you will. This one being in the 40s, the way they're talking, the way the dialogue is being delivered isn't exactly as followable, if you will. But by the second act, when he wakes up from being poisoned, that's when it gets really, really good. That's when this movie gets really, really good. But D.O.A. the remake does not do as good it's not as successful as the original after the poisoning. Before the poisoning, it's good. After the poisoning, it's kind of more of a comedic type of action comedy. That there's a lot of jokes with Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid, where it's taken far more seriously in the original. I like them both, though. I do. I like them both, and I'm glad that they both exist, because if it weren't for these, we would probably not have gotten this. And Crank is amazing. It is one of the best films ever made. Its sequel is one of the best sequels ever made, even though it's just mindless action, paction, bombastic craziness. It's the type of mayhem that you watch and you go, hell yeah. It's like the movie Machete and Machete Kills. It's the type of movie you put on and you go, hell yeah. Go and watch D.O.A. Go and watch the remake. Go and watch the Crank movies if you haven't. I recommend all 4 of them.